You may have heard of my next guest, Shaz and Altaf. They are the guys from the YouTube channel Halal Hangouts. It's known for rating halal-friendly restaurants. And this month, of course, they've been checking out places that do early morning breakfast for Ramadan, known as Sehri or Suhoor. Is this something you've done in the early hours with your mates this month? Do you think that actually you tend to socialise more during Ramadan? Nothing like quite having that date and that glass of water, which I'm sure is going to be at, 9:20 something tonight. I shouldn't have brought that out, really, because if you are fasting, that's the last thing you want to hear, is it? Some joker telling you that in about 10 hours' time you get to finally eat something. Shaz and Altaf, hello, sirs.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. Listen, this is a website, this is a YouTube channel after my own heart, because I have an obsession with donors, and you have an obsession with donors as well.
Yeah.
Well, now you need to, first thing you need to do after this is go to YouTube, type in the best doner kebabs in London, and there's a video that we produced a couple of years back, and it's got the best doner places to check out in London. So if you like your doners, mate, that's the place to go.
I'm all over it. I'm all over it. But also equally, because now I live in the northwest of England, you're the top halal food spots in Manchester. I'm all over that.
Oh yeah. We went to Manchester and it was a wild time. The food up north is great. You guys have got it good.
Do you know what? The thing is, I think down south there is much more of a Turkish doner vibe. But for me, the Pakistani doner is king.
Yeah, with the curry, the curry sauce.
The spices are different though,
onions. Man. Yeah.
The marinade is different. The seasoning is different. It's got a little more vibe to it.
Well, you know, for the purists, you'd go for a Turkish doner.
You would.
But for fusion food, and then we're all about fusion food, I suppose, nowadays. You can't beat. And there's places in East London, Stepney specifically, that just make a mean doner if you're after that type of stuff.
Yeah, there was one that used to be the far end, the Whitechapel end of Brick Lane, where I used to go and it
exactly.
And you know, often with kind of halal hangouts, and you see this in your videos, is it's not often the most aesthetically pleasing building where you may get the best food, right?
Dude, it's all about the food. Come on, let's be real. It's about the food. Forget the atmosphere. That's why we only rate on service and taste. Simple.
Yeah, because if you were to do it on decor, geez, some of those places you go to.
1 stars all round some of those places.
Mate, it's nothing like those orange plastic seats. You know, the ones bolted to the floor to make you feel like you're in a classy establishment.
If the food's...
Yeah, if the food's good, isn't it? I mean, why did you decide to start Halal Hangouts, boys?
Halal Hangouts started about 5 years ago, and we were going out every weekend to new restaurants. And then we decided, all right, well, you know, there's no one out there really documenting this stuff, because we had some great experiences, but we had some really, really bad experiences that ended up in, you know, long trips to the loo.
Yeah. So hopefully not with a tiger in your bathroom.
Yes,
that's for people who've seen the trailer videos for yeah.
So then we decided, all right, well, why don't we just record it and see what happens? And then it was just magic from there. It was a great response, and things have grown exponentially year on year. So it's great stuff.
What is it that Muslims have against lambs? The amount of lamb chops my guys eat. What is it with lamb chops? That's like crack for my guys.
In our diet. It's a staple in our diet. It's like drinking water.
I know people that would start robbing their own family to pay for their lamb chop addiction.
If you like lamb chops, dude, I don't. Good places. Oh, you don't?
See, I don't eat red meat, you see, so it's not a thing for me. But I've always been interested in the fascination all of my Muslim friends had with lamb chops.
I mean, we're fasting, right? But let's describe a lamb chop. Like, you have this bone. And
actually, sorry, can I just stop you there for a second? I just want to have a disclaimer here that if you are currently fasting and you've got 10 hours to go, you might want to turn the radio down for a couple of minutes, because this is not going to help, right? Just to be clear. Okay, carry on.
A lovely, smooth bone that's been cut perfectly. And then you have this soft, succulent, juicy, tender meat that has been cooked to perfection, slightly char-grilled on the outside, pink in the middle, and juices flowing through it. Biting into that is absolute heaven.
Wow, you're like an Asian
that's what-
Salt Bay, aren't you? The way you just described that. Went in. So, I mean, I feel so much for the people who work in these establishments and are Muslim and are fasting. It must be a nightmare.
To be honest, I'm totally with you. I'm very lucky that I can pretty much focus on my work and there's no food around me. But if you're around food all day long and you're fasting for 18, 19 hours, yeah, God help you, it must be very difficult. So I empathise massively with all those Turkish doner places out there cooking up their doners right now.
The struggle is real. The struggle is 100%.
Yeah, it's definitely a hard struggle.
It is definitely. What about, and this may be a swear word to you guys looking at your thing, but what about vegan and vegetarian then? I mean, I know it doesn't have to be halal, vegan and vegetarian, because it's vegetables. But do you think you will branch out into that in future? I'm sure there are more and more Muslims who are looking at vegetarianism and veganism.
Veganism and vegetarianism, I mean, we do embrace it. I mean, it's part of the halal sort of concept of it not only being permissible, but also being good for you. So, the whole gluten-free, vegan and vegetarian, we watch it closely. And there's some great vegan places. There's a place on Brick Lane that does great vegan burgers. It's amazing. So, and it's come on leaps and bounds to what it was previously. It's become really mainstream. So, I love eating a plant. Who doesn't?
Yes, there's the lyric of the day. I love eating a plant. Who doesn't? And you'll go on tour, or is this mostly in London?
You know what? We've been quite lucky. We've been abroad. We went to Marrakesh recently. That was we did a huge barbecue grill out there for my friend's wedding, and we literally went down to the local bazaar, picked up some local fresh produce, bought back a couple of private chefs, and they cooked us up an amazing barbecue, and we literally filmed it all. It's on our YouTube channel, but the meat out there is something else. It's just, oh man. It's not helping. You're right, Harris. This is not helping this conversation right now.
No, I know. It seems really weird that you agreed during Ramadan to come onto a national radio station and discuss eating. I have to say, this is some kind of sadomasochism on your part to do it. It's me, it's fine. I'm not a Muslim, but for you guys, I'm like, wow.
Well, there's a phenomenon in Korea where people live stream themselves eating
Noodles.
Noodles. You've seen it, right?
Yeah, I have seen that. Yeah.
This live stream, and millions of people watch just that person eating, and it's just like because people are so disconnected these days that they just want to eat with somebody in that part of the world. So we love watching people eat, and definitely love eating. So it doesn't stop in Ramadan. You just focus to the end goal, which is that date and that glass of water. And then your iftar is such a satisfying feeling. And definitely.
Yeah, the iftar is, I went to a place in Manchester a little while ago, it's this week in fact, and about an hour before, it's a well-known place, there's one in London, one in Manchester, and huge it is, and it's like a buffet. And about an hour beforehand, a lot of Muslims turned up. Very mixed audience, but it was a Pakistani-owned business, very, very successful business. And they get there an hour early to make sure they get a seat because you can't reserve in this place. And they piled the food up and just sat there having to look at it for an hour. And I was like, wow.
You know what? Honestly, you get sort of I think the first 3 to 5 fasts are difficult, but beyond that, you actually really get customized to it. So when you're seeing food around you and people talking about food and not even water, you kind of just get used to it. And I think now it's fine. You could put a platter of meat in front of me for the next 10 hours, and I'll be good. I'll be fine.
Dude, but I was looking at them just thinking, look, all I can say is thank goodness for mobile phones, because that's all people were doing. They were staring at their screens to just not concentrate on this plate. And they'd piled it high. I mean, this was like the Himalayas, it looked like on some of these tables. Himalayas of pakoras. I was seeing.
The irony is they'll break their fast and they'll before they've even broken their fast, they'll be putting the shots on Instagram, even when it's time to eat. So, you know, I'm a culprit of that as well. I'll be honest. I do the same thing sometimes. Then, you know, you've been waiting 18 hours to eat, and then you're uploading photos on Instagram for the next 5 minutes after your fast is broken.
So is Iftargram a thing?
Oh, lovely. We're going to steal that one. We're coining that.
Hashtag Iftargram.
That's
brilliant.
Well, that is a thing, clearly.
I mean,
yeah, go on.
Iftar is now, I mean, food in general, people take photos before they eat. They watch it, like they record videos of themselves eating, Snapchat filters for, I don't know, pizzas. So it's definitely social media and food are really interlinked these days.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? But food and culture is so interlinked, isn't it? Tell me about a German doner.
Oh, tough. This is an interesting one. Now, I think again we've got a video where we literally explored the origins of the doner kebab. So we have a question for you: is a doner kebab Turkish or is it German? In your opinion, the origins. It's not a trick question, to be honest.
See, I think that the origins. I don't know. I just can't think. See, that elephant's foot thing, as they call it, right? That giant clump. See, I'm the chicken guy. Like, I don't do that lamb thing because I'm not sure what's in that meat. Let's be honest, no one's sure what's in that meat.
Well, you don't, and that's the fun of it. It's the mystery. It's like,
mystery.
The lucky bag that you used to buy from £1. Oh, what am I going to get this time?
Yeah. So the German doner, the story goes, or the history goes that there's obviously a lot of Turks that migrated to Germany, and they, I guess, commercialized the doner kebab. So it was, I think, around the 1970s. But prior to that, yes, it was Turkish.
Right. Okay.
It was a Turkish invention,
right,
which then was shipped over to Germany with the Turks when they migrated over.
This is what I love. This is pure edutainment here on the BBC Asian Network. Guys, thank you so much for coming on today, Shaz and Altaf. And if you want to subscribe, just go to YouTube and check out Halal Hangouts, and that will get you there.